What up, bro? We in here. It's another Saturday morning motherfucking conversation. Matter of fact, I keep saying the name wrong. But that's all right. Because the fucking signs say it. But it's really the Saturday conversation.
Yes.
We just happen to be here today in the morning.
New and improved.
Fucking
What up?
episode 38.
Yes, indeed. Better
Shout out
than
to
37.
38 Studios for having the wackest video game company in the world.
Yeah, especially in Rhode Island.
In Rhode Island.
At least.
Fuck Kurt Schilling.
Heavy.
Nah, I've never been a Kurt Schilling fan. Fuck that dude.
I don't have no bloody socks, so I'm good.
All that. We here. DJ Caveman.
DJ Monkey.
DJ Monkey.
Yep.
What up? It's A-Ray.
Chocolate Suavemente.
Chocolate Suavemente. Yeah, I cut my hair.
You cut the curls.
I cut it off, man. It's too much heat. It's too much heat. The poppy had to go. The brother is here. Plus, the dark skins.
Oh, man.
Is here now.
Vinny the Rock Lord in the building.
Yes, indeed.
This dude, man, every week he put on a smaller shirt.
Who?
We're going to have to get a camera on Vinny.
Oh.
He's like, yo, today I'm going to kill him with the muscles.
On slimmer athletic men, it makes you look more muscular.
Nah, because he had the muscle shirt that we was saying that was kind of like a Shabba shirt.
Oh,
shirt. Yeah, but it wasn't fishnet. But nah, he actually got sleeves on the shirt. But he lifts a lot of equipment when he comes in here, so it's just natural muscle just popping through the shirt, I guess.
That is a man. Listen, that is a man of all trades, and you don't mess with techies.
Yeah,
you don't mess with the techies,
especially when that Vinny the Rock Lord.
Right? He'll beat your ass and play a guitar solo over your fucking.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh man. But yeah, man. Episode 38.
Episode 38. It's been a long motherfucking week for me.
Oh. Yes, indeed.
A lot of shit going on. Still going.
Yeah.
I think I've slept like 4 hours. Maybe.
4 hours? What the fuck are you doing?
A lot.
Oh, okay. Sounds...
I'm an insomniac.
Oh, okay. 21 Savage? What are you doing? A lot?
A lot. We're going to keep it real Kawhi Leonard on this. You have to ask the people I'm doing shit for what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. All right. And this inquiring mind got other shit to do. I'm not fitting to be investigating in your life.
Oh, the
whatever you telling me, I'm going with.
I don't know, B, you asking a lot of questions right now, man.
Who
cares if I just like sleep and work right now?
Oh man, you see, you're gonna have me like how I'm at in the office. Like, hey, how was your day? Good, that's great. So how about that? You're like,
that's how
I'm
it
just
is.
asking just to ask. I really don't care. I'm just asking just to go.
Why would you ask if you don't care, man? See, this is why our relationship is on the rocks.
Oh my god!
Listen. I said you're gonna have to have me on that office time. I actually asked you because I cared. I'm like, yo, so what you been up to? A lot. All right, cool. You don't want to tell me anything, so we're gonna keep it moving.
We had I just been busy, man. Just working
right.
a lot. Getting up early, long ass days.
All right.
Barbecues and family shit.
All right. Okay.
The usual.
All right. Stuff that you don't want to talk about on mic. I understand that. Whenever you're ready, I'm here for you as a friend. I'm not gonna be pressuring you. I'm not gonna be squeezing you like you my girl. Like, come on, bitch. Like, you sure you all right? You say you all right, but just
I said I'm fine.
Okay.
Anyways, Aries been job hunting.
Yeah. You out job hunting?
Bro,
hey,
I'm
listen.
I'm out there on the hunt. I'm looking for anything. I work hard, but it's just like, I love Rhode Island. I love Providence. I love my city. But like, I lived in Texas. I lived in other states. And the job market is just like, it's a struggle out here, bro.
You know what it is, though?
It's a struggle.
What they like to do here in Rhode Island, I was talking about it with somebody on the bus the other day because I knew them from the temp agency, but that's what they like to do. They like to hire people from a temp agency because the hustle is
well, it's cheaper.
It's
and
cheaper,
they don't have to pay benefits. Not even like cheaper hourly.
Mm-hmm.
It's cheaper because they don't have to pay benefits.
Exactly.
All the
Especially
benefits
when
go
it
through the
comes
temp
to
agency.
somebody.
So what they do is they will be like, all right, so 3 months we get you through the temp agency. If we hire you through the temp agency, we pay off the contract, and then that's already 3 months we didn't have to pay you for your benefits. Then there's that 3-month probation that, we got to wait and see if we're going to keep you on. So that's 6 months right there of you not getting any benefits. But the thing is, they want you to go through the temp agency hustle. And it is what it is.
Me.
It is what it is because, like, I used to get a lot of nice jobs through the temp agency, like through Brown University. I was in their admissions office. I worked at Hasbro Toys. I worked at. Oh damn! I shouldn't even be saying all these people's names.
No,
but but like you get some.
Well,
but you get experience.
The first day I moved, the first
up.
week I moved to Texas, I applied to over 30 applications and I had 15 callbacks. within a week.
Well, see,
I've never experienced. Now I'm used to getting 100 applications, 3 callbacks. I'm used to that. So I'm used to the hustle, and especially when it comes to auditions, that's the same type of method. Yeah. But then coming back and being 30, and then getting back into that mix. Yes.
Hey, I've been lucky. Hustle. Every job I've ever applied for, just about I've gotten. Like, I'm like 8 for 10.
Oh, damn.
8 for 10.
Like I've only got like
Ted Williams.
But I also chase jobs that I really want. You know what I'm saying? I don't really just apply willy-nilly. Like, I'm like, yo, I'm going to apply to these 5 jobs, and I'll have interviews at all 5 jobs, and then generally I'll get job offers from 3 of those jobs.
Oh, okay.
And then I get to choose.
But are you staying within within means? Or, like, are you just shooting for the stars? Like, you know what? I want to be an executive producer.
No. Like, I know what I'm good at. Like, if I'm applying for actual work, I apply for shit that I know I'm good at. So when I put my resume on the table, they're like, oh shit, this guy knows what he's doing. Like, let's hire this guy. Like, I don't go to like get a DJ job at a club not knowing how to DJ. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's like
I let my resume handle its strengths. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I hate office work, but my resume is good for like call center shit. I can pretty much get a call center job anywhere.
Yeah. You got a smooth.
People like to hear the chocolate velvetiness of
see, like,
of my
and see, like,
your classical.
See, your natural voice is like a nice, smooth voice. Like, I have a speaking voice. Like, when I do like, customer service shit on the phone and shit. But I like, for purpose of media and us being here, like, I don't really flex that voice. Yeah, I just keep it simple with y'all.
Yeah, I rock them to sleep in the interviews. Basically, is how it works. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just the type of dude that'll tell you why you need me for your company, and you will do terribly around your fiscal quarter without me here.
That's cocky. That's cocky going in right there.
Who? Why would I tell you that I need a job when everybody else behind me needs a job? It's like I'm gonna tell you exactly why your company needs my black ass up in there, and let's do it today.
So let's get into this right now, man. We last week, we didn't get a chance to touch on everything that we wanted to touch on. Yeah. Especially the Central Park 5 situation.
Yeah, special shout out to Asha for coming through.
Shout out to Asha for coming through.
Asha White.
There's so much like don't get me wrong, the story, the impact of what happened to these 5 gentlemen, long ago, these 5 young kids.
Hold your thoughts, because we got a special guest this week on the show.
Okay, all right.
Assistant District Attorney, Felony Prosecutor, in the great state of Texas. Texas. Leslie Andrews Booker is going to come on the show. Okay. Friend and family of the Saturday Morning Podcast. So we're going to get her on the line. She's at a basketball game right now. Oh, shit. We put her on the speaker and shit.
Yes, indeed.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Conversation.
I don't know if you can hear the basketball game, so I'm going to walk out.
Oh, yeah. Nah, we can hear it. There's a basketball game going on. Thanks for taking some time away to come dialogue with us.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
So we just really started getting into this whole like Central Park 5 situation. For those who don't know, the 5 guys convicted in their teens for a rape that they were eventually exonerated from, just received a settlement of like $41 million.
Yeah, that they had to split. Yeah.
But they had to split, but still, it's substantial, because New York was sitting on that for a while, because they've been exonerated since like 2002, I think. So,
yes.
Yep.
Real quick, Leslie, just go ahead and give them your credentials. Let them know who we're talking to. I gave you a nice little introduction, but
Okay. So, my name is Leslie Booker, and I am a felony prosecutor in Williamson County, Texas. Been a prosecutor since maybe 2000. I've been a prosecutor in the state of Maryland in 2 different counties just outside of Washington, D.C. And I've been a prosecutor in the state of Texas and outside of Austin in Travis County, for about 10 years, and now I'm outside of Austin in the neighboring county, which is Williamson County, a much more conservative county. So I've seen a lot. I've tried, all kinds of cases, sexual assaults, murders, aggravated robberies, you name it. I've tried it since 2000.
Cool.
Obviously worked with a lot of different law enforcement agencies in Maryland as well as in Texas. So this issue, this scenario, I'm very familiar with.
So, from a prosecution standpoint,
I do have 2 kids. I have a teenage son and a teenage daughter. Right now, I'm watching my teenage daughter's basketball game. My son is 16, and he's, obviously starting to drive right now. So, my husband and I have had the conversation that most African American parents have with their kids when they start driving about how to respond or prepare yourself when you never get stopped by the police.
right. So from a prosecutor standpoint, like, can you maybe shed some light on what maybe was happening without, obviously you weren't in the room, but like, how does from a prosecutor standpoint, like, how do you convict kids without any like DNA evidence? Is it just the time of was it just that time, or is that something that that happens regularly, or is it just kind of like supporting the cops? Like,
great question. So back then, at that time, you certainly can convict people based upon a confession. The law has evolved since those years, in that obviously you would want more than just a confession. But back then, pretty much the prosecutor's case was based upon solely on their confession. There was no physical evidence. The victim in that case did not recall the attack, so she could not identify her assailant. So they pretty much just built their case on those kids' confessions. Now people are hopefully realize that confessions are not necessarily automatically, credible. People should know today that sometimes people confess even if they didn't commit the crime. But back in 1989, New York City, it was enough, unfortunately. The confession was videotaped, which is required today. You have to record a statement by a defendant. It's not enough for a cop to say, well, he confessed to me. We need that to be recorded, written or oral, video, so that people can see what the confession looks like. But back in '89, when those kids were giving an interview initially, those statements or that interview process was not recorded. So the prosecutors say, okay, the detective interviews them and then come back and we'll go ahead and record it. I've actually looked at a couple of those interviews, and it's a woman who's interviewing them. I'm not sure if it was the prosecutor or not, but during the taped recording, because we recorded interviews, but prior to that, they were interviewed by male detectives, and you don't see a recording of that. So the jurors see the recorded videos, right? But they don't see the initial interviews. It's referenced in the recorded interviews, but they don't actually see it. And I think that's what's in question, right?
right.
Yeah.
What was happening when they were initially interviewed? Of course, they're accused. They're saying that some of them were assaulted. I think Corey Wise, he was beaten by a couple of the cops beforehand.
Yeah.
And I think Yusuf said he actually heard him being assaulted next door. So that's what's really in question, right? Was there confession force? But of course, the jurors don't see that. They only see the recorded version of those interviews later on, which I think may have been hours later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, last week, one of our guests was saying that Obama had something to do with the actual video confessions actually being a standard procedure going forward. Can you speak a little bit about the importance of having that video type of confession, like the whole background? So when you present it as a big picture, can you speak on that a little bit more and the importance of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like I said, you know, if those statements or interviews aren't reported, then from a prosecutor's perspective, I want it, because I don't want the defendant to come back later and say, hey, I was coerced, I was beaten. So really the videos is not just to protect the defendant, it should also protect law enforcement.
Yeah, that's what he was saying too.
You know, right. I want that statement recorded, and so that not only to protect the veracity, but also just to put into context how it occurs. You want to make sure that, you know, what's reported later is correct. People's memories are always, you know, just naturally causing a question. If a detective says, hey, he said this was this, not even if the cop is being on the up front, his memory or her memory could be flawed. But if I have that actual recording where I can see it for myself, then it protects my case, right? And again, obviously, from the defendant's point of view, you know, you want to say, hey, this is, you know, if I'm not confessing, I want it to be recorded, or if I am confessing, I want it to be recorded if I think that I'm being forced to confess. So it protects both sides. It should.
Yeah. See, one of the things that I saw outside of the special that they had on Netflix, the show that they had afterwards with Oprah, and she was making sure that to call them the Exonerated Five rather than the Central Park Five, so that way people will see that they're exonerated now. So calling them the Exonerated Five, that was one of the things that she was pushing. But one of the things that me growing up, I know a lot of the story, but one thing that I found out from that is that they've had, and they DNA tested over 40 kids, and they had no match. So it's the fact that they stuck with just these 5 kids and then said, try to bring up the 6th person.
How does something like that even get to happen? Like, there's no DNA evidence, but we still going to convict these kids because they confessed, kind of?
So, yeah, you know, it's so complicated. What a lot of people don't realize is that at that time, when this happened, there had already been a series of rapes in the park.
Yes.
Right.
And they were under a lot of pressure to solve that case. So by the time this happened, you can imagine prosecutors have, and law enforcement, not just prosecutors, but the detectives, they have a strong interest and drive in resolving this. You can't just have somebody out in the park, Central Park, raping people and nothing is happening.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of pressure, and now you know it's like a perfect storm. You have a bunch of Black and Hispanic kids, you know, up to whatever they were up to in Central Park. Ironically, the same night another attack occurs. It's a perfect opportunity to say, hey, and I, you know, I'm not in the heads of that particular prosecutor, but you know, and I don't think anyone said from the beginning, hey, let's go ahead and pin it on some Black or Hispanic kids. But when this opportunity presents itself in their heads, hey, it had to be them. It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And so that kind of drives it, and they just kind of go with it, and they're just under a lot of political pressure. I think that was even referenced in the documentary on Netflix by one of the prosecutors, where she is confronted by one of the defense attorneys. What are you doing?
Yeah.
She says, hey, look, this is political. It's kind of like, if you remember, well, you probably don't remember, but what was it, back in the late 80s, early mid-80s, the Atlanta child murders. The city was under a lot of pressure to resolve those killings. And at some point, they're going to put it on someone. And if they can make it fit, make it stick, they're going to do it. And I think that's what happened with the Central Five. That opportunity presented itself, and they took to them that it had to be one of them. And they don't have the DNA because it wasn't them. So, but they're just going to go ahead and go with the evidence that they have.
I'm so glad that you said that was kind of like actually not kind of, it was really a political move, because in the New York Post I read, which was compiled by two reporters, Ashley Allen and Adam Broski, that President Trump's role in the prosecution of the Central Park Five looks pivotal, and basically he was demanding on a full page in a news report that it needs to be a tough on crime approach and return of the death penalty. So it was like the whole city was gathering together to try and to get not even fix the problem, but to get rid of this problem. And so it's really interesting that that defense attorney and you highlighted that. And I just wanted to get your opinion about that, because what they're saying is because Trump said that, now it's like this, the actual outcome of this special could really be an effect of his next run in 2020.
You would hope so. You would hope so, but it's people are. On one hand, the criminal justice system is going through a huge change, in my opinion, from being involved, from coming from the inside. A lot of in some parts of the country are, because of Central Five, because of a lot of the police shootings, are having a second thought about the criminal justice system in general. Also, the fact that people are questioning whether drugs should be legal. So there's this kind of a trend where criminal justice is going to go through a huge change, in my opinion. It came up during this last presidential election when Hillary Clinton was challenged on President Clinton's crime bill in 1994. And so, and I think that's when it started to bubble, and this is going to continue. Now, Kamala Harris is going to be under a lot of fire because she was a prosecutor in San Francisco. It's just not a popular place to be in, actually, at this time. So I am curious as to how this is going to roll out for President Trump in the next election. It's a very interesting question. I don't, let's see how they handle it.
And see, for myself, I grew up in New York, so I knew about this story growing up and knowing about how Times Square at that time was not the Times Square people know nowadays. Like Times Square, you used to go, that was the real seedy part of town. And then on top of it, Central Park, and then the murdering that was happening, like you were saying, the rapes that were happening in Central Park. At the time, like you stated, it was really a perfect storm. And she was forced to pin it on somebody. It wasn't about justice. It was about saying, all right, we solved the crime. Everything is good. You guys can go about your business. But like he was referencing too, and how it could affect Trump, what he was wanting to bring back was stop and frisk. And now, again, being from New York, I've been stopped and frisked. And it was, they're just doing their job. But it would only seem like certain people get stopped and frisked. One thing that Hillenbrand is saying is about how black people get prosecuted for drugs disproportionately compared to whites. So it's like, even for like a bag of weed, blacks were serving more time compared to whites. And the numbers show. And these are certain things about Trump, for me personally, that I've known about him from way back then. So it doesn't seem like any of these things stick to him because he wants to go back to law and order and be the law and order president. But then when it comes to the actual nuts and bolts of it, he's like, well, I'll let the states and I'll let the courts handle it. Right.
I mean, he obviously, leads by creating fear right?
Yes.
I don't know if he's going to get very far with criminal justice, law enforcement. Like I said, it's just not as popular as it used to be. In fact, now it's being called into question, which is why, in my opinion, he's focusing on the immigration. You can create fear in that, legal immigration. You can create the border situation. That's where he's heightening his fear. It's the same tactic, same strategy, just a different focus. As far as I can tell.
And he plays like he's the solution to it all. Nobody can solve it but him.
Yeah. Fuck that guy. So with the whole situation now happening at Columbia University with the black legal, the female black
Elizabeth Letter.
I can't remember what it's called right now. But with them forcing her to resign, I don't know. Do you feel like it's warranted, or was she kind of just doing her job at that time, and now she's kind of the scapegoat because of all the publicity that the case is getting again?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. So I will answer that question with another question. What is the job of a prosecutor, right? Prosecutor, in my opinion, his job is to seek justice, to do justice. You have a lot of power as a prosecutor. In fact, that's why I became a prosecutor. I didn't start off as a prosecutor. I started off as a public defender in Baltimore. And I was extremely frustrated with the lack of objectivity of a lot of the prosecutors at the state's attorney's office in Baltimore City. And I spoke with an African-American male prosecutor at the time and was voicing my frustration with his colleagues. And he said to me at the time, Leslie, if you want to have control, if you want power, if you want to make a difference, you need to be on my side. And initially, I thought that was the most ridiculous thing I had ever heard, because I was just this huge defense attorney. I'm trying to save all these defendants in Baltimore City, and he convinced me. So that's why I switched sides, because the job of a prosecutor is to be fair, is to seek justice. It's just not about, how many people can you send to prison, how fast you can send them to prison. A lot of prosecutors are like that, but that really isn't our job. And we definitely need more people on my side to be fair and to be objective. Every case is different. So when you say, was it her job? Yeah, if she truly believed that these individuals were the ones who committed this, heinous crimes, then yeah, it would be her job to prosecute them. But I question whether she truly believed it, or was she just, falling to political pressure and trying to get a conviction because they were under pressure. Should she lose her position at Columbia? I could see it going either way, but I do think the message needs to be out there that you, as a prosecutor, and I wish every single prosecutor across the country will follow the story. But I think the message to prosecutors is, you have to be confident in your case and do what's right. Challenge law enforcement agencies when they bring a case to you. You don't just take every single case they bring to you and prosecute it. You have to examine that case. You have to evaluate that case. You need to look at the evidence. And I tell everybody, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, that's
just
true.
Because you can convince these teenage boys to confess doesn't mean that you should prosecute them for a crime that they probably didn't commit.
I did have a real quick question though, because I knew about the case beforehand. So for a lot of people watching the Netflix show, a lot of it for me was about dramatization, pulling at the heartstrings, getting at a certain emotion. One thing that I realized, especially with Elizabeth Lederer losing her job at Columbia, was the fact that she's basically herself was prosecuted through media. And it was recently, going back in history, it's the same thing that happened with R. Kelly. It's the same thing that happened with Michael Jackson, where now after people seeing a dramatization of the actual facts and the events, Now certain actions are getting taken, like certain actions are happening. How do you feel about people getting prosecuted through a dramatization through the media?
Well, I think people should be prosecuted in a court, obviously. I think the media has obviously influence, and I think there's a place for that, but I also think there's a line to be crossed, to not cross, excuse me. You know, it's not that she's being prosecuted, or she's under scrutiny, and as a prosecutor, that comes with the job. You know, even if you're a line prosecutor, you're not the head DA or head state's attorney. You're gonna be under scrutiny because you represent the state, you represent the public. So you have to be real. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but she knew that as a prosecutor. You take the good with the bad. But yeah, the media has a role in all of this. I mean, the media's job is to expose and present to the public, because most of the public won't be aware of certain things unless they're in the courtroom. But, you know, I don't have a problem with the media exposing, but I do think that they have a line that they should not cross. But it's really up to the public, right? Yeah. The public has a responsibility as well. You're supposed to evaluate and do your own research and not just take the word of an article or reporter.
Exactly.
Don't just read one article. Read several articles.
Exactly.
Especially now, today, with the internet and the resources we have, you know, reach out to people. Talk to different people. We all have a responsibility. And, you know, you're right. The media... the media had responsibility or role in that Central 5 case as well. Yep, you know, Trump at that time paid for that huge ad, and they posted it because they're going to take the money, of course. But
right.
Yeah, $85,000 is a lot of money.
Him in the ass.
What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I said it's going to come back and bite him in the ass.
I don't know. He's a slippery guy. He's a slippery guy.
I know. Some people never get what's really coming to them. Some people don't.
No.
Well, Les, thank you for coming on the show for us today.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
And
so
talking
much.
with us for a few minutes, giving us the insight from the inside out.
Yes.
You're welcome. No problem.
Come on anytime you want. You know what I mean? Come to Rhode Island and visit your family.
Will do. I promise. All right, you guys have a good morning.
Hey, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate you.
Take care.
Have fun at the basketball game.
Thanks for talking about this. It's an important issue, so I appreciate you guys for addressing it. It's something that people need to be aware of.
Thanks.
Indeed.
All
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Have a great morning.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
Insane, man. Insane.
Good looks for the big cuz coming on the show and added some insight to a touchy situation right now. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people watching it now that probably didn't know about it then because obviously no social media. So, you know, how would this case have gone, you know, back 25, 30 years ago if social media was around? Or if this case came up today,
probably
would it have the same effect?
Honestly, cuz it's like nowadays, it's not like, it's almost as if like back in the day if the Challenger and the Rodney King ass whooping happened every single day. It's like we're almost to the point where desensitized, by what the media gives us in almost mediated violence. As in like, the violence towards this man is okay because he put violence towards me. This is fine. This is okay to do it. And it's like, we see this shit every day. Every time I open my phone, I see either someone that's from my city that got shot, or some cop done dragged some black kid to the street, or something. It's like every day I get.
I know off mic y'all was talking about it, about how it seems like it's happening more. No, it's not really happening more.
No,
it's
not.
now that we have
it's just there. It's in our face. Like before, like if some shit happened in Boston, we wouldn't know about it.
Yeah.
Unless we read Boston news or watch Boston
or
news.
Had a cousin
or
from
had
Boston.
a cousin from Boston or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, some shit happens in North Dakota and it's viral because everybody got a camera on their phone and the internet. And people are like print media is pretty much dead So everything's online. You can go online right now and search all the murders in North Dakota for the last 55 years. It's probably only 7, but still. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like, the fact that our information is now like literally like 5 seconds away makes it easier for people to get involved in things, but also it makes it easier for people to spin shit because there's so many more outlets for media. Used to just be like, I'm either gonna watch one of these 3 news channels or read one of these 3 papers.
Or go outside and play.
Or go outside. You know what I'm saying?
Do something.
Which there's a whole other conversation about the lack of fucking athleticism in today's youth.
Keep that for your soapbox. Keep that for your soapbox. Keep that for your soapbox.
We're on an abbreviated show today because we got a lot of shit going on.
But really and truly, like what I was gonna say about that on real 2 notes. Number 1, right now with social media, it seems like the main product that people are producing is outrage. Like the one thing that people really push is like it's the one thing I call fake outrage is, you know what, I'm mad at you because you're not as mad as I am about this situation. But like, yo, this is your fight. You know, I'm gonna sit this one out. No, I'm mad because you need to be a part of this. That is what I really don't like with this whole Central Park 5. Exonerated 5, I should call them. Is that I got a 16-year-old son. So now watching it and seeing the father's side of things, for me, and what I wanted to ask her was like, what would you tell a teenager? One thing I would tell my kid, don't say anything. Don't speak. Don't say anything. Don't say nothing at all. That is the rule of thumb. Like, if you get held, don't speak. Don't say I don't know nothing. I want a lawyer. Whatever it is, want a lawyer. Just like how they had that Dave Chappelle skit, I plead the fifth. Like, straight up and down.
And what's
straight up and down. Don't say nothing, because I felt the father's pain because because they were squeezing the father. They was like, look, if your son doesn't cooperate, we're gonna, how about this new job you got? Wasn't you in prison? So it's like, right. The father's getting squeezed. So the father's like, look, you got to play nice because the police is going to get you either way. Once they get their teeth into you, they're going to get their meat either way.
Well, it's like the guys, what are they called? The Weed Brothers or whatever, the legal dudes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The shut the fuck up cats.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you invoke your Fifth Amendment right privileges and you shut the fuck up.
Don't say nothing. Because anything
you say
can be used against
the way that shit gets spun around.
Then that means we as black people have to start teaching our sons tactical like ways of like straight up torture that cops. Then you have to start.
Not really. I don't think you have to start teaching them that, because nobody needs to really learn that. You just need to make sure that first your kids are doing what the fuck they're supposed to do.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And second, that if they do get into a jam, what they do when they get into that jam. And it's just to fucking shut the fuck up and wait.
I've always,
make your phone call,
given the power to them.
Make your phone call and wait, and then let the lawyers do what the lawyers do. And don't say stupid shit, because you got to remember, like, you're 16, you never dealt with the cops before. You know what I'm saying? And
Corey was the oldest dude, and Corey wasn't even at the park. He only went downtown because it was like, yo, they took Ari. He's like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna go downtown and be with Ari. People. And then he got the worst of it all. He had nothing to do with this shit.
You know what I'm saying?
He's like, yo, they're bringing in Ari. I'm going to go with Ari just for support. Now they're holding me. Now I'm in Rikers. Like, I'm in Attica. Like, I'm getting moved around. Like, shit.
But I think that, the things that I think that from, like an urban youth perspective that never happened is that, first, the cops don't always look like you, right? So there's one problem. But second, we're taught from an early age to hate the police
or fear them
because of what our parents went through, right? So unless we can now, and then we go through similar shit because we already hate the police. So when they fucking pull us over, we're already quick with the attitude and quick with the combativeness, which only leads to bad things. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So until we kind of start to reverse that dialogue to, not every cop is bad. Do these things, get the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Don't give them an opportunity to do the stupid shit that cops do to people all the time, because as soon as you give them that small little window, they're gonna come through that bitch like the fucking SWAT team and beat your ass or shoot you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And if you're truly not doing anything, don't run.
True.
Because at the end of the day, all right, you might do a couple hours in the jail, but you're gonna get out on bail and then you're gonna get off. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's like it's the long play, but it's the play that stops you from getting shot in your ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that. So you would think.
So you would think.
So
But
you think.
I mean, as long as you try to do what you're supposed to do, like technically none of this shit should happen. It still does.
It still does. Yeah.
But it also like some of it is bad cops. But what nobody ever really looks at is that some of it is you.
True.
Yeah.
So unless you are gonna put yourself in better situations, like I don't go to East Providence.
I just don't.
For shit.
No.
I got no reason to be there.
No black
I got no
man
job there.
deserves to be there. Sorry.
You know what I'm saying? I got a few people there. I see them
Daytime.
sometimes. You
During
know what I'm
the
saying?
daytime.
Sometimes.
I have friends in Riverside and
Because the best way to not get arrested is to not do shit that might get you arrested,
But you
and
see-
to not put yourself in those
But
situations.
that's one thing that my father was telling me too when me and him had the conversation about cops. He was like, number one, they're just regular people trying to police the scene. Like if you're not doing anything for them to step in to police you, then you cool. But then also, they're also looking for their environment because we grew up on the east side. Now, and there's two sides of the east side. I lived on Pleasant Street. So when I tell people I lived on Pleasant Street, oh, you lived on Pleasant Street? I'm like, nah, I lived on the upper half.
Right.
Right? Right? I lived on the upper half of Pleasant Street.
Side.
Yeah, I lived on the pleasant side of Pleasant Street, but the lower half, people know that there's shit going on down there.
one
But
way.
the thing is like, we used to go from Nathan Bishop all the way to Newport Creamery. The houses and the people that lived in those houses were different people. So now, when the police are on the scene, they're just making sure that those people in that neighborhood are not bothered by us and our element that we're walking through with. So I understood that part. And I'm like, look, I'm not going to go into somebody's backyard so I'm off the street so I could take a piss. No, I got to just hurry up to the store and take my piss. Or...
But also, you got to remember, too, that the police know who you are.
So you would think.
They all know who you are.
Yeah.
There's not that many police in your neighborhood.
Yeah, that's true.
Every cop in your neighborhood knows exactly who you
Officer
are.
friendly.
They have an idea of who you are. They know who your parents are. If you're out late, they know who you are. I drive past the same two cops every single night. They know who I am. They know where I live. They've run my plates
I
already.
used to hang out with my mother at Snubs.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if they're coming to talk to you, they already know who you are. 9 times out of 10, they're not just randomly, maybe in some bigger cities, but in a small city like Rhode Island, they're not like Providence, still, they're not really. It's not like as profiley as people make it.
That's what you would
unless
think.
you're in East Providence or like if you're not in your city, because they're looking at you like, who the fuck is this guy?
But there's some cops that
guy.
don't even live in the neighborhood. Like they live out in Greenwich, but then they're police in Providence. Like. So when they're at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck about you because they're going home all the way down the street.
Lately, that's been changing. I've been noticing a lot of dudes, a lot
outreach.
of girls, a lot of females that I know that graduated with me or graduated from classical and stuff that are becoming police officers.
Which is going to be my second
great
point
because they look like
is
us
that,
and it's something kids can relate to that are from the urban community.
That was going to be my second point. We got a little off the rails, but
It's okay.
Aside from like. Which I don't remember my first point now because I got so like fucking drawn off. But my initial point was that it's up to us as parents and nephews and uncles and whatever to take our youth and encourage them to be better. The inside change. Like
true.
We got taught to hate cops, right? Don't teach your kids to hate cops. Teach your kids to want to be cops and to service their neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying?
Be the good cop. Be the good cop.
Be the kid who becomes the cop to help his neighborhood.
Yep.
Instead of letting the guy from East Providence come and police your neighborhood.
And be the asshole in your streets.
You know what I realized? Corporate, medical field, I've done I've gotten paid to do scenarios to prevent doctors to get malpractices happening. Playing unruly patients or someone's parent or something like that.
You got jaundice. You got jaundice.
So you can sit there and train a doctor how to deal with these type of situations because as soon as they're coming out of school, all they fucking know is school. They don't know what it really is to be out in the field.
They got book smarts.
Cops need that. People in the judicial system do not have that type of training.
I like those videos with cops playing basketball with kids, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's a nice little narrative to push, but the thing is if all the cops are doing this, it would be better rather than a video because they would show that after talking about how a cop killed a kid in the back, shot a kid in the back 9 times.
Right.
So it's like, well, there are some good cops, but
There definitely are some good cops,
but there's good cops that get squeezed out by the bad cops.
But the change has to happen from the inside.
From the inside.
So you have to get convince your kids to want to be cops or politicians and to run for office
and talk to them as people. Just see them as people
and
doing
to
their job.
not automatically be combative when confronted by the police, because there's quick ways to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah,
I mean, get home. It should be the motto.
Because the thing,
I
really
become
and truly,
catatonic. I'm like literally monotone.
Because really,
Hello, sir.
to kind of switch the point too, because like once you're good with the cops and you're good in your community and things like that, people will look out for you. But still, you see how they got Big Papi?
Oh man.
Like, no matter what you do, like, your life could be worth $8,000 to somebody else.
Right,
I
but
hope he feels-
Big probably has to be for another week.
Yeah,
Because
we're running long.
We're up against it right now. We're running a little long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
Vinny
Thanks,
over there,
thanks
he got
again
his
to
thing.
Leslie
Yes,
Booker
indeed.
for coming on the show and talking to us about the legal perspective.
Shout out to the Raptors.
Shout out to the Raptors.
Kawhi Leonard.
Fucking Kawhi Leonard got his title and his statue.
Nah,
he,
man.
had a statue.
Terminator.
Statue going away party. He better go to the parade or we get a banner from Canada.
Terminator X.
What are you doing?
The cool.
Laugh, man.
That's not even close.
That's fucking creepy, man.
No, that's what I'm laughing at. I'm like, you tried to do an impression of somebody and it's so bad.
No, that's not
but it's
even-
like, yo,
it just
the
reminds
joke
me
is
of
that
some
how bad
evil
it is.
laugh off of a cartoon.
It is,
Like,
but
I just,
It is, but
I know. I'm just listening. I'm
You're
just
like
exaggerating.
you're like the bad dramatization on like those like
and that's
like
the funny part.
daily news channels.
Anyways,
Anyway,
if you guys
that was the
really
Kawhi
like,
laugh.
if you guys really like the convo about the exonerated 5,
Yes.
you should definitely leave some comments if there was some questions that you didn't feel like you got answered or something like that about it. By all means,
right? It's a
I'll
Saturday
let us-
conversation. We're on YouTube now. Go to the YouTube, the Saturday,
Spotify,
the Saturday
iHeartRadio.
conversation. Click the subscribe button. Follow us on Spotify,
Apple iTunes.
Apple Music.
Is it Apple Music?
Apple Music. Yeah, iTunes is dead, man.
No. That's why I said
Yes.
that. No, is it like Apple Podcasts or some shit like that?
As Apple, but it's podcast.
Yeah. Is there?
SoundCloud, all of them. Spreaker. If you can get a podcast there, we're gonna be there. So search for it, and if you can't find it, DM us on the Saturday Morning Conversation Facebook page.
People
Like the
already
page.
know.
Tell people it's the Chocolate Suavemente.
let me know.
It's,
Let me know.
DJ
Go to
Iron
that
Monkey.
page.
DJ Caveman, Vinny the Rock Lord.
Woo!
Yo, we out.
Yep. Peace.
Why?